Chloe. Over to you, Chloe.
Oh, okay. Morena, everyone. Tuihana, are you okay to start us with a karakia?
Certainly. So, inoi tātou, please bow our heads. Hauora mai runga, hauora mai raro. Hauora mai roto, hauora mai waho. Hauora te pūtaki o tēnei kaupapa kia pūrangi a ho mātou I te wānanga me te kōrero. Tēnei te titi ake e te pauhaura ki te pūtaki o tēnei wānanga, tūturu o whiti whakamaua kia tīna, tīna. Haumie, huie, taekie. Kia ora.
Kia ora, and morena, everyone, and welcome to our workshop Wellbeing, which is called haehae na hihi o Matariki, which is the rays of Matariki are spread. And thanks to Tuihana for the music and the karakia to start us off this morning. Ko Chloe Howard toko ingoa. My name is Chloe Howard and I'm Associate with the Centre for Social Impact. So I'd like to welcome you all here this morning to the Kia Whiti Tonu series. So this is a free program of 90-minute workshops which are being offered to the community sector by the Centre for Social Impact through support from Foundation North. The Kia Whiti Tonu series of free online workshops was launched in November last year. This was in response to the need for capability and capacity building in community organisations as identified by the COVID-19 Impact Survey. That survey was undertaken last year by CSI in partnership with Huia, Philanthropy New Zealand and Volunteering New Zealand. I do want to do a shout out now to Huia and Volunteering New Zealand who are running a follow-up survey, and we'll post this link for all of you to respond to this morning in the chat. So the introductory program last year covered grant writing, marketing and communications, innovation strategy and wellbeing. You can access all of the recordings of the PowerPoints from these sessions from the CSI website. The workshops were well attended, and in response we've had 9 free sessions for the Kia Whiti Tonu series this year. So far we've offered, Tuihana started us off with a wellbeing session in March, and then we had digital technology, communications with media, governance, along with strategy and innovation. And again, these sessions are all available on our website. And coming up, we have a collaboration session, and later in the year, we'll have an evaluation session. As you can see, we're aiming to make all of these sessions as accessible as possible. This workshop was oversubscribed, so we will be recording it, and we will not be recording the breakout rooms. At the end of the session today, we will ask you for your feedback via a small survey link in the chat. This is 4 questions. It's important because it helps inform any future delivery or offering. The feedback we received last year has helped inform this year's offering, and we really want to make sure it responds to the needs of the sector. Before I introduce the session, I'd like to ask you all to take part in a poll. This is a short poll, and it will ask you if you've received funding from Foundation North. Foundation North is supporting this series, and they're interested to see how many of their grantees have accessing the workshop. There we go. Today's workshop is Wellbeing, ka haehae na hihi o Matariki. The rays of Matariki are spreading, and it's presented by our CSI associate, Tuihana Ohia. And Tuihana has been involved in the design and implementation of a number of significant wellbeing initiatives, including Vodafone's Matariki Support Network, Tuihana Aotearoa's Wellbeing Program, Waiora. I'm going to hand over now to Tuihana, and she'll take us through the session this morning.
Kia ora naima, haere mai koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Tua te rangi, tua te whenua tui te pauhiringa tangata o te motu, kei tāku kingi tu heitia wototau te whiruwhuru, te tuawhitu, pai mārire, kia ko otira ki a tātou. E mihi ana ki a tātou kua whakakotahi mai ki te tautoko I te karanga o te rā. So tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa, ko Tuihana Ohia hau. Excuse the busy truck that's just driven past. I come from a beautiful place called Tauranga Moana, Naitirangi, Ngāti Pukinga and Te Arawa on my father's side. And on my mother's side, we grew up on a little farm just outside of Dannevirke in a place called Weber. and my mother's family are Northern Irish, originally from Scotland, and also English and German. So that's where my mother's from. I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, so you're going to hear a bit of a twang twang every now and then, okay, of which I sometimes feel like I need to apologize, but it is a big part of my life with my family that have lived there now. All my immediate family have lived in Australia and Melbourne, Australia for 43 years. So, and my oldest son is Australian. So there you go. I'm just going to click into our PowerPoint presentation now. So just bear with me for a moment, please, while I bring that up. Oh, I'm feeling a bit nervous. I don't know about you guys. Bear with me. Hopefully that's, come on now, be nice. Okay, just a little bit about me. I've worked in the wellbeing space for 12 years, and as Chloe mentioned, I've worked with Tuihana Ohia on their Tauora program, which is actually one of Aotearoa's longest running workplace wellbeing programs, and is actually New Zealand Aotearoa's most award-winning workplace wellbeing program, and won an award with Vodafone, and get to speak at conferences and do workshops with wonderful people like you all across the country. But I'm super excited, and I'm very happy to be part of the CSI whānau and part of the Foundation North whānau. It's lovely to be here today. But hey, enough from me. Just so you know, I'm a blended mother of 4 boys, and I can see that my teenager's texting me now. Yeah, they range in age from 28 to 6. So yeah, they definitely keep me on my toes. So anyhow, let's start this workshop. Nau mai haere mai. As I've said, one thing I'd just like to say before we start is that some of the feedback that we've received is how do we apply some of the learnings from these sessions to our workplaces? Well, I come from a kōrero, I come from a whakaaro, a thought where what we learn or what we gain out of these workshops can actually be applied both within our workspaces, to ourselves, within our communities, and also to our whānau. So I'm hoping that today you walk away with the kite full of tools and learnings that you can then share. Ka pai? Awesome. So let's move on. So I'm just going to ask you to put this in the chat, please, is actually what brought you here today. And really simply, what is your name? What organisation do you represent? Where are you from? And what is your favourite thing to do at the moment? So, okay, so that's your name, the organisation you're representing, where you're from. So I mentioned I'm from Tauranga Moana, and what's your favourite thing to do at the moment? So just to give you a bit of an idea, I do this thing, I've just started doing it, where we get a step and we do like dance to R&B music, doing like, I don't know if you remember back in the day, it probably shows my age. You had a bit of a step class and you use your step and you know, bounce up and you bounce down, and now there's this new wave of step coming back, and it's to all this funky R&B music. So that's what I love to do at the moment. But if you could share that with us, so this is a bit of a different way of doing whakawhanaungatanga, but with so many of us on today, I think it would take us probably the whole hour and a half to go around. So it'd be really lovely if you could share that in the chat. That'd be really nice. And maybe I'll play a little bit of music while we're just doing that, hey? And if somebody could let me know when we've had a few responses, that'd be awesome. Thank you. We'll try this one. Lots of responses. You should be able to see the chat. Let me see. can't quite see the chat. I'm not quite sure why.
Nana, I think if you close the PowerPoint, you might be able to see the chat, but I'm happy to do a shout out.
Yes, please.
We've got
Chloe.
Gary from Stats New Zealand, and that's mountain biking in the forest. We've got Karen, who's a coordinator from the Southern Government Women's Network, and ice skating, which sounds awesome. And we've got Tori from Sustainable Business Work, from the Hawke's Bay, refreshing walk in the bush. And yep, we've got Ruth from down south, from Timaru, where it's cold. Yep, we can feel that for you. And she's sitting down in front of the fire with a cat. Can't think of anywhere better. And yeah, we've got lots of awesome things coming through. But yeah, awesome. I think, Tuihana, when you close your PowerPoint, you can see them.
Okay, so we might go in and out of the PowerPoint today. Okay, fine, because I'd really love to get to know you all a bit better. Thank you so much, Chloe, for that. Oh, here we go. Tēnā Lawrence. So Tēnā is a multicultural council of Rangitike, Whanganui. I'm from Taumaranui and Raglan. Oh, Ngāti Wehe and Ngāti Haua and English roots here in Whanganui. Favourite thing to do, facilitating crafts and learning. Awesome. No more haramai. We've also got Shiloh Zhang, and Shiloh, excuse me if I didn't say your surname correctly. She's a Sustainable Business Network. She's from China and she loves kayaking. Awesome to see you all. Nai maharamai, thank you. Whereas, which way am I going? Oops. Right. It is Matariki at the moment. So Matariki, I was listening to a kōrero this morning, and Matariki is actually a time of reflection. It's also a time when we reset, but it's also remembering those that have passed. So, kua haehae ngā hihi o Matariki, the rays of Matariki are spread. He maramatanga o tēnei whitu, he maramatanga anō tō tērā whitu. So each star has its own light or presence in the sky, and everyone is their own person. So when I think about this, when I reflect on this at this time, in the world of Te Ao Māori, we believe that those who pass appear as stars in the night sky during this time of Matariki. So for those that have lost somebody over the past year, I just want to mihi to you all and to remember that their star is shining brightly up in the sky during this time. But also to remember that each of us has a light that should shine and does shine brightly. So sometimes I think we forget that our lights shine brightly. So part of my, I suppose, my scope of works today, or one of the outcomes I'd like to be able to achieve today, is that by the end of the session, you will have, as I've said, a kite full of things that actually come from within and allow your light to shine even brighter. The kia ora. And as I said, we just want to mihi to those that have passed. And if we could just take a moment to just reflect on that, to just think on that, it's just going to be silence, just for a little while, so we can remember those that have passed. Kia ora. Nā mihi whānau. And also to those whose whānau are unwell, we also hope that they're recovering. And to those who have family overseas, you know that you're a long way from home. And we hope that you remember them too. Sorry, a bit sensitive. We've got somebody in our space today whose mother is unwell and lives way over the other side of the world. So I'm just remembering their mother. She's still alive with us on this earth, but we just wish her the very best. Oh, I should have warned you I'd cry a bit too, for those that don't know. So we're just going to take a moment to do a bit of reflection around growth and achievement. And we are going to go into breakout rooms. So, you know, we have this, I think a lot of us over the past 12 months have gone through some change and some growth. And it's been a challenging time for many of us. And also there's some things that I think that we need to celebrate in terms of what we've achieved. And these don't always have to be like this picture has this person standing on top of a cliff. You know, they don't have to be big things. But I suppose one of the questions I wanted us to discuss in our breakout rooms is how did we grow and what goals did we achieve, or perhaps we didn't achieve them. Perhaps we need to reset. Because one of the things we're really good at, whānau, is actually saying, you know, kind of feeling a bit challenged by the fact when we don't achieve goals, but actually how can we turn that and say, okay, we might not have achieved them, but perhaps we could look to achieving them in the year ahead. So we're going to go into a breakout room. The questions we're going to talk to is how did we grow and what goals did we achieve? Okay, so let's have that as our focus. So now Amy's going to send us into breakout room. We're going to have a good chunk of time, and please be mindful of allowing everyone to have some time. And I think we've got 8 minutes, Amy, in which to share. Is that correct? 10. Wow, a whole 10 minutes, whānau. So, and we will get an idea of when we need to come back in. So now we're going to move into our breakout rooms. Remember, whānau, reflecting on the past year, how did we go? How did we grow, sorry, and what goals did we achieve? Kia ora. Thank you, Amy. Kia ora. This meeting is being recorded. How did everybody find that? Interesting? Thumbs up? Woody up? Ka whai. I think, is there anybody, I'm just going to get 1 or 2 people to share. Is there anybody that would like to share? Please unmute yourself. Oh, otherwise I'll pick you out, okay? All right. Alana Fasavalu. Go for it, Alana.
I joined my group a little bit late, but we were just having a chat about setting small goals and achieving them on the way to achieving some bigger goals. We had a little bit of a conversation about balancing motherhood and career aspirations and how to work through what is best for your whānau, but also what is going to fill your cup and what it is that you want to achieve and how you can work towards that.
Awesome, thank you. And Karakia Johns. Oh, you can unmute yourself, please, Via.
Yep. Kia ora. I wasn't expecting that. We did a little bit of whakamutunga. I got a little bit distracted. But I guess what I've come out of the last year with is that there's no such thing as failure. There is actually just learning by doing, and mistakes are where the gold is. And mistakes are natural and normal, and we have this productivity thing, and it can actually get in the way of us celebrating those small successes along the way. I think we forget to do that a lot because we're so busy being busy. So we forget to stop and acknowledge just how bloody awesome we are. And the other thing that I'm looking around in this very, very new space that I'm in working is that we have forgotten the magic of play. When we talk about connecting to our communities and everything else, like you see kids in a playground, they don't care what colour they are or whether they speak English or any of that kind of stuff. Within 3 minutes, best friends forever, and it's through play. And if we could reintroduce play into our workspaces in the ways that we engage, then actually we'd get along a hell of a lot quicker and a hell of a lot faster, and it'd just be so much more magic for that. So yeah, those are my learnings. So kia ora.
Ka pai. Thank you, Fire. And we had a lovely lady by the name of Catherine in our group, and she's really looking to this time, and it's the perfect time to do it, to really reflect quite in some depth with regards to the past year and actually resetting for the year that's ahead. So, and I think Fire's right. We have kind of forgotten how to play and have some joy in our lives. So today that's part of the outcome for me is to actually remind you of all of that, okay? Or to bring that back, all right? Now, if you ever meet me in person, you're probably going to feel me before you see me or hear me before you see me, because one of my things, and it actually goes back to what Fire was speaking about, is that I don't believe that there's anything negative in this world. It might feel like very challenging at the time. However, there's always a learning that we can take. So anyway, I'm going to get the hurry up soon because I think we're running 1 or 2 minutes behind schedule. So, but it's always good for us to reflect on that. And I'm going to try my darndest to stick to schedule today. Ka pai? So let's move to our next slide. And I am going to ask that you all get out a piece of paper and a pen. If you can get that and have that handy, that would be awesome. Work on the other way. Right. Oops. Okay. My fingers are too fast. Oh. Okay. Stop. Oops. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Whānau. Just gonna.
Tuihana, would you like me to do your slides for you?
Yes, please. I'm so sorry, everybody.
1 second.
Thank you, Amy. But we're going to look at Whatumanawa, which is, so I'm going to ask you to draw a circle. And in that circle, and if you notice, and the reason why we're going to use a circle is because in Te Ao Māori, we have a belief that if you join a circle, sorry, this is my very bad circle, that a circle means that there's never-ending growth. There's never-ending achievement and there's never-ending life. So if you could all draw a circle, and in the center of that circle, I'd like you to draw a heart, and I'd like you to type the words Mauri, M-A-U-R-I. So you're going to draw a heart in the middle of your circle, and in that heart, you're going to write the words Mauri, M-A-U-R-I. And somewhere on the outside of your circle, you're going to write the word Whatumanawa. And probably the interpretation of that would be around emotions and heart. And I've used I'm going to be using a number of whakataiki today, and I've intentionally used this picture of this young tamaiti running through the sprinkler with so much joy. And I don't know if any of you, but when I saw this picture, I could so recall running through the sprinkler and having so much fun with that. Or, you know, you'd be walking home from school and somebody'd have the sprinkler on and you'd intentionally run through it, even though you knew you might get in trouble with mum and dad for being wet when you got home. So, me te wai kōrari, like the nectar of the flax flower, there's joy in small things. So we're going to do a bit of a chat response today. I mean, you're going to put it in the chat. So what are some of the small things that brought you and bring you joy? And what goals would you set yourself around bringing joy? So the weather has been quite cold of late, but last week it was a bit wet. And one of the things that I particularly like when it's raining is actually walking in the rain, because it just brings me so much joy, and it reminds me of when I was a kid and I'd jump up and down in the puddles, and it was just so much fun, you know. Or yesterday, my 6-year-old and I, the song came on, and I don't know, there's this really funky song by what's his name? He's a cutie anyway. It's called Peaches. And so him and I were dancing in the lounge room, and I was like, it's just little things like that that bring me joy. Oh yeah, being greeted by my dog when I come home. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And yesterday I spoke to my nephew. I'm going to be 1 in November. And yeah, that was lovely. Blue skies, crisp clear days, winter walks by the sea. Lovely, Virginia. Taking notice of smells and fragrance. Yeah, that's lovely, Ruth. right now, fragrant candle burning, wild grape. Hugs, yes. Baking something for someone who isn't expecting it. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, look at all these. Love it. Oh. Yes. It's really interesting in Aotearoa. One thing, or there's a couple of things that many of us share, and one is around going into the ngahere, so going into the bush, into the forest. There's something incredibly energizing about that space. Also, and brings a lot of joy. Also water, and of course, probably the number one thing for many of us is whānau and kai. Food, okay? Because no matter what your background is, what culture you come from, food is this key thing that actually brings people together. Oh, I love all of this. This is great. Thank you, everybody. Papatuanuku, yes. Cat cuddles, love that. Seems, oh, I hope everyone else is seeing what's on the chat. Isn't it fabulous? Oh, I love Bridget Jones' movie. Is it Tina? It's on Netflix at the moment. But I think it's just, this is about, oh, kukumo, moko, ai. I think this is just about remembering those things that do bring us joy, because sometimes we forget. We forget what brings us joy. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for remembering. And I can see a few people looking out into the distance, remembering times and moments when, what, you know, as to what things brought them joy. A smile from a stranger, absolutely. Don't try walking past me and not smiling. It's almost impossible, okay? Okay, so on your circle where you've written Whatumanawa, you've just going to write there, what are the things that bring you joy? So near Whatumanawa, you're going to write a number of things around what brings you joy. And we're going to move to the next slide, please, Amy. So Waiora is health and soundness. Me te toro e tau ana I runga I te au. So like the albatross nestled upon the current, manifesting resilience with the elegance of nature. It also helps with our innovation and creative energy. So recently, actually just on the weekend, I went to Whirinaki. Whirinaki is at the beginning of the Te Uruwiras, and it's actually one of David Attenborough's favourite places to visit. It's one of the oldest forests in the world, and it just was the most beautiful place to be, because you don't just smell it and see it, but you also feel it. So we're now going to go into breakout rooms, and we're just going to, you know, with the many currents that we've experienced, and it's so lovely to have a baby with us. I'm just saying, yes, she's cutie. With the many currents we've experienced, what was it that brought you health and soundness? You know, because we've been through a lot of currents in the past year, and or maybe you've just been through recent currents, but what is it? And also, what would you leave behind, and what would you like to do more of? Okay. So I would like to leave behind the fact that sometimes I had woe-be moments, and I'd like to think, what would I like more of? Is to just to have more time, I think, sometimes with whānau, to just sit and talk and contemplate. But we're going to go into breakout rooms. I'll see you back here in around about 10 minutes. Kia ora. Thank you, Amy. I just want to acknowledge everybody. I don't know about your breakout room, but we just came from a breakout room where everyone was just really vulnerable and very open about the challenges they've had over the past year and some of the goals that they'd like to set themselves. So I just want to send everybody that's in this workshop today a whole lot of aroha, and to remember that we're never alone, and we've always got whānau and support around us. And if anyone does ever feel alone, or there may be any triggered responses, then there's actually a great service. It's called 1737, and it's counsellors from all over Aotearoa that you can actually call at any time and have a conversation with, okay? Ka pai. Ka pai whānau. Thank you so much for sharing. So if I could just return to the slide, please, Amy. Thank you. You would have written on your circle Whatumanawa, and now I'd like you to write Waiora on your in the other corner, and or other part of your porofita, your circle, and just write a couple of things about Waiora that we've just perhaps spoken about, or you've spoken about in your breakout room. Ka pai? Oh, Whiti, if you got that? Yes? Ren, give me a Whiti, Ren. See, I can see you all. Awesome. And thank you so much. Is there anyone that would like to just quickly share? I'm just going to ask one person. As soon as I saw Ren's beautiful face, and she's given me a beautiful smile. Ren, could you please just quickly share? That'd be lovely. Thank you so much.
Oh, I hope my sharing's not too hard for anyone. But I shared that we've experienced some miscarriages this year, and what's really helped me with my recovery, I suppose, from that has been being very intentional about how I coped with everyone else's reaction to my miscarriage. Because I didn't want to, when I was dealing with my own miscarriage, then deal with everybody else's miscarriages, because I think 1 in 4 pregnancies actually end in miscarriage, even if it's very early and people don't even know. But it's very common, and often people, empathize with you, which is beautiful, but sometimes that was perfect and what I wanted, and sometimes it wasn't what I wanted in that time. So something I think is really important is to know what will help you, and be and give people the benefit of the doubt of like letting them know how they can help you best. So
thank you, Ren. Thank you so much for sharing. And I've just seen people put up little messages, and all I can think of, Ren, is all the beautiful stars in the sky and how they're all shining down on you, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to others. Next slide, please. Otherwise, I'm going to end up crying. And another part of the porofita whānau, we're going to put aio. So calm, peace, tranquility. Okay. Because I can never be lost. I am a seed, born of greatness, descended from a line of chiefs. E kakanoa. E kura au I ngaro, e kakanoa hai. E rui a mai rangiatia. Because I can never be lost. I'm a seed sown from rangiatia. I have a reason for being. A balance, a springing of energy. Many of us, whether we share Indigenous whakapapa, whether we share Mauri whakapapa, whether we're from the Cook Islands, whether we're from Samoa, Tonga, whether we're from other places in the world, we all come from lines of chiefs. We all come from tupuna in which we have received gifts. Aio is about finding that place where you are calm, where there's peace and where there is tranquility. And I purposely put up a picture here of water. Oh, my son's ingoa is te aio. Oh, thank you, Alex. And water brings so much peace to many people. And there's strong beliefs within Te Ao Māori that we will go and pure, we will go and do ourselves with water in which to cleanse, or which sometimes to just, wash away things. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, and if you could just put this te pauai or lovely, Ren. Hey, well, we must be on the same Waiora level today, Ren. So when challenged with disruptions to you, whether that be within your workplace or with your whānau, what do you do to find some peace, to remain calm and tranquil? What do you do? this morning, to be honest, I was feeling incredibly anxious about a number of things, mostly related to mahi. And so I was a little bit short with my whānau. So I just took myself outside, bare feet in the freezing grass, and took a few breaths and just did a little bit of a mihi to the day, you know, a little bit of a, you know, a gratitude space for the day. So what is it? And if you could put it up in the chat, when you find yourself, you know, a little bit disrupted, a bit anxious or a little bit stressed, what is it that you do? Where do you go to find some peace, calm and tranquility? I also go, because I live in Kirikiri or Hamilton, although I'm from the Moana, I will go to Waikato, to the awa, and often walk along it and just do karakia with a cousin. So what is that space or place for you? What do you do for you? So if you can think about that, put that up in the chat. And I'm going to put up a song now to just give us a minute. I can see Amy saying you're a little bit behind time. So we're just going to take a little minute and let's put up yeah, whānau. So what we're doing is under Aior, not only would you have put things up in chat, but I would like you to write some of those things that you've shared with us in your aisle. So in this space of aisle, kapai. So now the circle should be looking kind of full. We've started with Whatumanawa. We've also gone to Waiora and aisle. Kapai. And thank you so much. I love chocolate. Everybody loves chocolate, but I've been sugar-free now for around about 5 weeks. Oh yeah, it's a challenge. But thank you everybody for sharing. Can we please move to the next slide? Thank you, Amy. Okay. Now I intentionally always leave this space to probably one of my last slides. And Hine Naro is around consciousness, awareness, but it's also around, so yes, I'm going to ask you to write Hine Naro on the outside of your purewhita. You see that there, Hine Naro. And we are going to go into breakout rooms, but this is a whakatauki that has really kept me personally in good stead. And when I've had friends and whānau who have had some challenges within this space, this is often a whakatauki I like to share. E hara taku toa I te tō takitahi, I tō takitini. So my strength is not as an individual, but as a collective. And I think that over this, you know, sometimes it's really easy for us to get into our heads and have moments of absolutely feeling alone. And what is it that you need to remind yourself that you are not alone? And perhaps the other way to reframe it is from loneliness to solitude. Because solitude are those moments that we take to be on our own and just have some space. So we're going to go into breakout rooms. Excuse me. We've got 10 minutes to share. And so now we're going to go in there, and I look forward to being in the next ropu that I'm in. And thank you, Amy, if you could now please send us into our breakout rooms. I don't know about your ropu, but within our ropu, it was just absolutely lovely. So I just want to acknowledge everybody for sharing, and for sharing in your groups, for being vulnerable. And it seemed like the whakatauki that we used was incredibly perfect timing for many people, hey, to remind ourselves that we are not alone. So thank you. And if I could see the next slide, please, Amy, that would be lovely. Oh, Mara's baby's so cute. I'm loving these babies today. So this is a picture. I am from Tauranga Moana. If you've ever been to Tauranga and you've gone to Welcome Bay and you've gone to the shops, you keep going past the shops, past the hot pool, and you keep going past there, and that's where my people are from. Ngā te Pukenga, Ngā te Rangi, and this is taken from my auntie's homestead, and her homestead sits on whenua where my great-great-great-grandparents lived. So it's a beautiful place, and it overlooks the marae. You'll see like a little, looks like it's a little white-capped place. That's because we were doing work on the marae. And then you'll see, and this whare sits at the bottom of Kopu Kairoa, which is one of our maunga. But right across that moana, you'll see Mauri in the background, and that is another one of our maunga. So your Mauri is your vital essence, hence why it sits at the heart of this purawhita. The purawhita is a reflection of you, and the Mauri that sits within that in the middle is your vital essence. I kitea ai ngā taonga o te moana me māku koe. If you see the treasure of the ocean, you'd better get wet. Life is for living. And I purposely use this whakataiki because it's a bit of a bias towards the moana, because that's where I'm from. But each one of us has got a place or a space. And where is this place for you? And, you know, near that marae is the urupa. And I have to say that it is one place where I go to check in with regards to my Mauri and my vital essence. That is where I go, because I can whakapapa 7 generations back in that one place. And it just fills me, and it reminds me of, you know, where I've come from and who I am. And that this is my place of belonging. This is where my Mauri is and where my vital essence is. And I have to say, on occasion, when I go home to Melbourne and I'm shopping in Chadstone Mall, if I'm being really honest with my family, but this is actually, I always come back to this place. So in the chat, where is this place for you? And Mara, please give that baby that big fat kisses on those big fat gorgeous cheeks from me, from his auntie Tuihana. I'm not going to play any music, just going to let us do this. Moiraki, North Otago. Oh, lovely. Me too. Urupa, the German Alps, Matapihi. Oh, Opotere Waihi Beach, family home, lovely. Everyone's got different places and different spaces. What about Virginia? I can see Virginia on my screen. Where does Virginia go? Kaituna River in Rotorua. Jenny says Lake Kaniere. Kaniere? Kaitere, the Grand Canyon. Oh yeah, that's a great place. Waimarama Brook Sanctuary. Ooh, Hakatere, Canterbury Headwaters. Lovely. Virginia, have you responded? Bay of Islands, Kapai, Tauranga Bay and Whangaroa, lovely. Oh, Whangaroa, nice. Thank you, everybody. It's a Great Barrier Island, lovely. Home is where the heart is, Tina. So by now you'd have a circle full of things under Hininaro, Waiora, Whatumanawa, and Aio. And in the middle would be Mauri, would be the heart, and the place and space where you go to fill up your cup so that his cup runneth over. Kapai. Next slide, please, Amy. The whole purpose of this, and Valerie, I just have to say, I've seen you on screen and your facial expressions have kept me in good check today. So thank you for that, Valerie. But this is all about, the circle is representative of you, of all that you have within, of the light that shines within each of you. and it's to own what you have within. So I put up 3 photos here. This is a very mahi, very kind of, you know, very serious photo. My family would laugh at that. Then I've got a whānau photo. There's 4 generations of us on that photo. And then I've got where I go for my own self, which is sit on top of Mowal and look down across the moana. But what I know is that all that I have within doesn't change whether I'm at work, whether I'm with my whānau, or whether I'm just by myself, because all that I have should be shining all the time. Because, and I'm just going to use an example, you know, culturally, and I'm just going to say this. I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, where I could have been any nationality, you know, it didn't matter. And yet when I've returned to Aotearoa, having a name like Tuihana has automatically placed me into a space that sometimes I am then placed into a box of a stereotype. And so I like to challenge that stereotype when I meet people. And it's probably the one time that I was made aware that I was perhaps a little bit different, is coming back to Aotearoa and suddenly being reminded that I'm Maori. And I've taken to sometimes, I said this to the CSI whānau, and that is compromising my indigeneity in order to fit into a certain type of audience or crowd. But I no longer do that any further. I am very proud of being Maori, and I will no longer compromise on that. And I won't compromise on the fact that I have an amazingly beautiful Pākehā whānau either, who hail from Europe. So that's who I am. And I've come to learn to own that. It's taken me a little while. So, you know, but what I do know is that my purawhita remains the same and my Mauri remains the same, no matter what space, what place and where I find myself and the crowd that I sit in front of. Ka pai? So I'm going to go to the next page because I think I'm back on time. Oh my gosh. Now, first of all, I want to acknowledge all of you. So I'm going to, if I can please have that slide put aside so I could see everyone. Amy, that would be awesome. I've got tears in my eyes too, everybody. I'm just going to get you to put your hands up on either side. And the reason why we whiti is because it's the energy and the vibration. So we are sending energy and vibration to every single one of us that have participated in this workshop today. Okay, and that is why we whiti. Okay, you can put aside any other story you've heard about it, but this is why. It's about vibration. It's about sending another way of sending aroha to one another. Ka pai? So I'm now open for questions. I think we've got a couple of minutes. So if you've got any pātai, any questions, pātai mai, I can probably take how many? Amy, 1 or 2?
1 or 2.
1 or 2. We won't tell Amy. So, oh, yes, Fire.
Obviously your work is grounded in Te Ao Māori, and that's immediately obvious, and I love that. What are the lived, in your experience, what's the most challenging thing you've faced around inviting your European or Tāwiwi colleagues who haven't grown up with that instinctive understanding of Te Ao Māori and including them in your journey of understanding that our worlds and our life, our work life, are not different. They're actually the same thing.
Yeah. I think it's so I've worked in very corporate spaces, Fire. And I know that Vodafone will be happy for me to talk to it. And so I went from Te Wānanga Aotearoa, which is very Māori based, you know, Māori foundational thinking, Māori kaupapa, to Vodafone, which was really the other spectrum. I also, if I can just share a personal story, because I grew up in Australia, because I grew up in Australia and Melbourne, I was really quite removed from many cultural practices from a Te Ao Māori view. So I came back at 30 to really discover what that was for me. I've been fortunate enough to have a European family, though, who have been incredibly proud of the fact that we're Māori. So we were the only 2 grandchildren for 22 years on our European side. I first received my first pounamu from my European whānau. My first piu-piu came from my European whānau. So we've always been made to feel incredibly proud of our whakapapa, of our heritage. And then vice versa from our Pākehā side, because, from my Māori side, because probably because my European family was so accepting, and my mother was an incredible cook and could sew. So she used to sew everyone's wedding dresses and things like that. So I've always been able to stand on both sides and both lights. And I think that when I went to Vodafone, just sharing those kind of stories with them about my own personal experiences, but also understanding that we are underpinned by whānau. Whānau are very much at the heart of everything we do, and our picture is bigger than just ourselves. So we don't see ourselves as individuals, we see ourselves as having come from ancestors, and much part of representing when we go and stand on stage and we deliver a kōrero, or when we're in an environment where we're by ourselves and we're delivering a kōrero, or we're just talking to colleagues, is to remind them of the fact that we actually never stand just representing ourselves, that we are representing our whānau, we're representing our community, our hapu, our iwi. So I often will take the time, and because I put Māori into my English, is stop myself and explain what that word means. And share with them the beautiful things about Te Ao Māori, because too many times we hear the challenging things about Te Ao Māori when there's so many beautiful things. So, and if challenged around things like exactly how much Māori are you, my response is often, well, how much Irish are you? So, you know, I'm proud of who I am, and I stand in that light of being that person. So I hope that answers your question, Fire. Yeah, ka pai. And one more question. Oh, Amy's going to give me that what's up in a minute. One more question, anybody? Quick, before I get in trouble. Anyone? Okay, you're going to keep me on time. Thanks so much. Amy, if we can just return back to the slides. I can't remember what we're doing next. I think we're doing Karakia Whatumanawa. Have partai. Oh, yes. So I'm going to sing us out today, but I just need you to know that we would really love your feedback, that there's a survey monkey. Straight after Karakia whakamutunga, I'm going to bring up a page of resources that I used, okay? And you can, I'm sure you'll get access to this slide, to these slides. Okay, here we go. I'll get my singing voice ready. No. Kia tātou katoa, te atawha. O te o tātou ariki a ihu, karaiti. Me te aroha, o te atua nui. Me te whiwhinata I tanga ki te Waiora tapu. Ake, ake, amine. Ake, ake, amine. Go to the last slide, please, Amy. I just want to mihi to you all. Nā mihi koutou katoa. Tēnā koutou katoa. That means I can see you all, and I've seen you all today. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable, for sharing all that you've shared, for being a part of this workshop. And you know, this is a part, I don't even call this a job. This is just a passion of mine. And I hope that you've not only learnt something today and walked away with a kite full of wonderfulness that is you, but also that you've felt this workshop and that you feel this, okay? Nā mihi koutou katoa. Not just kia pai tō rā, not just have a good day, but kia pai tō papa tuānuku. So we send our blessings to Papa Tuānuku, to Mother Earth, who allows us to reside in this world today. And to all the babies that were with us today, just want to send you all big kisses. And I look forward to all meeting you one day, face to face. Nā mihi, nā mihi, nā mihi. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Sending you all kisses.